So my name is Jorge Rivera, and I am the one that put the lawsuit against FMCSA. It all started because I heard the rule, but I wasn't clear if I was included or not. So I went to the DMV, and that's when they told me that pretty much I wasn't eligible no more, and I got frustrated, and I made a video, and it went viral. So it got viral that news started reaching out to me, and then after the news hit, then a bunch of there's a Public Citizens, which is the organization that's the organization that's doing the lawsuit. They reached out to me saying, "Hey, you want to sue?" At first, I was like, I don't know about that, right? I don't want to put a target in my back. But then after that video hit, a bunch of people started messaging me directly. They're like, "Hey, man, like, what can we do? Hey, man." So many people started reaching out, and that's when it hit me. It's not just me. It's a lot of people. And the thing is that to people like, for example, you just say you're in trucking, right? Over the road trucking. People just have that in their mind. In their mind, in their heads, this rule is just affecting truckers. But there's school bus drivers. There's people that are driving concrete mix trucks. There's people that are there's city bus drivers that are taking people to work. There's city bus drivers that are taking U.S. citizens to work. There's a school bus drivers that are taking your kids to school. So when I say you, you know what I mean, you know what I'm talking about, the situation.
Sure, sure.
For the situation to come and say that we're unsafe for the roads, but we're safe enough for so many years to drive your kids to school and people to work, like, that's when it hit me. I was like, okay, well, a lot of people are desperate. A lot of people are going through this. Well, you know what? I have the tools in my hand. Why not go for it? So that's when I reached out to the lawyers and like, hey, you know what? I'm down. And then they're like, just so you know, your name will be the face of it. Just so you know, your name will be out there. So my thinking is, I have no record. I can say I'm not a citizen. I'm not a legal resident, but I'm not 100% illegal. I have a work permit. I have DACA status, and I am not hiding. Immigration knows where I'm at. The government knows where I'm at. So I was like, you know what? Let's do that. So I went forward, and here we are now. I want to say you're like the fifth person I've talked to. And it's because a lot of people kind of motivated me, not pushed me, but they motivated me to like, hey, you have the tools, let's do it. So, and I appreciate, you did a video, and that's where we're here now, right? You did a video saying what you said. I took no offense. It's not that you were attacking. It's just that you simply don't know the other side. And that's the reason for me to do this. I am doing this to put the word out, let people know what's going on, and to let people know that this isn't just about one thing. It's not about the English anymore, because that's where it started, right? So yeah, that's the introduction. You could go, because if you let me do it, I have a lot to say. I'll keep talking. So I'll let you take control of the questions, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess from my perspective, the one thing that me and a lot of other people think about is and I was trying to do this as gracefully as I could in my video, but trying to weigh the positives and negatives of this rule, and what would happen if the rule stays in effect? What would happen if the rule is completely abolished through the litigation? And what perhaps some alternatives could be where we could maybe find some common ground. So, like, from my perspective, looking at the rule, we have a lot. I mean, and obviously, I think you probably would agree, we have a lot of bad apples in the industry.
Yeah.
And they unfortunately detract from people like you, who are the exact opposite. You've been in America since, and forgive me for telling your story, but you've been in America since
Everybody
you were a
knows
child.
it at this point, go
Yeah,
for
yeah,
it.
yeah. And, you're a hardworking guy. You've got a successful company. You've been in America for decades. So, and I'll openly say, I think you are somebody who, you are an American, basically. I mean, I don't care what a piece of paper says. But so, do you think there is a common ground? Like, what is the goal with the lawsuit? Is it to completely abolish this rule, maybe get them to...
Well, obviously, there's, as far as a protocol, there's only certain ways you could go at it. You can't really attack a rule partially. You have to attack the rule overall. The goal for me is, because let's be realistically, even if we win the lawsuit, right, and the rule is hold, I don't expect DOT not to come back at it. They're gonna I don't want to say retaliate. That sounds retaliate. It sounds like aggressive. They're gonna come back and say, okay, this rule didn't work. Let's come out with another rule and compromise. My purpose, the purpose of me doing this lawsuit is, had I not done that, had I not done the lawsuit, a bunch of people are already losing their license, and that it would have been end of story. Me doing this lawsuit brings a little bit of like, okay, well, this is going on. Hold back. Let's hold back, and let's actually talk about this. There's more than just taking out all these people. Again, I said this once and I'll say it again. In no way am I here being naive and saying that there's nothing wrong with the industry. There is things that need to be done, but I feel like just simply taking our license away, we're like the scapegoat. That simply, at the end of the day, the people, I don't want to say the name, but I think we both know the group of people we're talking about, right? And when the news comes out and says we're taking these licenses away from foreigners, in their head, and people like you, right? And when I say people like you, the everyday person, in their head, they're picturing people that just got into the country maybe a year or two ago that speak no English and that shouldn't be in the roads. And I agree with that. But they never say in the news, they never say, yes, we're also taking license for people that have been here for 20, 30 years. And that's the issue that I have. Never have you seen the government, like Sean Duffy and Christine Nome, they always say these foreigners that just came into this country and are a threat to our country and speak no English. They never bring the other side. We are also taking it away from foreigners that have been here for 30, 20 years that speak the language. They never bring that up. So the reason for me to do that is because now we're sitting here, me and you. I've never met you before. I've seen your videos, and there's videos that I actually agree with you, like the one you did about Capstone. Man, I hate those places. I hate those places. So we have common grounds right now. This is a place where you actually reached out, and that's what the difference between other people and you is that you actually reached out like, hey man, I want to get your side of it. Because the plain and simple is the argument that I get, well, you're not a citizen and that's end of story. It's not that black and white. There's a gray area here. You know, it's not as simple as just saying I'm gonna go to the office, because I get that a lot, dude. Just become a citizen. Just go, like, come on, bro. Like, it's not just going to the office and applying. I'm in line. I'm waiting in line. I'm just waiting for my place. You know, and it's not only because, you know, we could go all day, but what's the other question you got?
Well, I was just curious. So you and I agree, I guess, that there is an issue. And forgive me if I sound like I'm categorizing you in with this group. You're, again, my position's clear. You're not one of them. As far as I'm concerned, you're a U.S. citizen. You should be.
I guess you're saying the rules.
Well, what I'm getting to is, what do you think would be a good approach? I guess let me ask it like that. Like, what do you think a good approach would be, aside from what the rule you're currently litigating? What do you think a good approach would be?
So, for example, a big approach for me is this. We agree that there's an issue. Even me, I have questions like, well, how are these people getting their licenses, right? Like,
Sure.
how are they? First of all, there's a system issue. If the goal is to have all English-speaking drivers, which is the EOP rule, which that rule has been in place for many years, and that's what people are confused. People are saying, well, what's the issue? This rule has been in place forever. No, this rule is brand new. What's been forever is the EOP. Now, I have never in the scales have gotten that test. Is it my fault that the officers aren't doing these tests? The officers need to do that, enforce that rule, and then you get a bunch of people that are out of the roads. Another one is, why is there testing in different languages if English
Sure.
is the
Yeah.
language? Another one is, why is the third-party testers, right? If you, for example, let's just say I'm Mexican, right? So let's say I have a trucking school and my students don't speak English. I'm going to teach them in Spanish. I'm going to teach them everything in Spanish. They're going to do the test in Spanish, and then they're going to do the driving test in Spanish, and then I'm going to turn in the results to the DMV as a pass. They're going to get their license. The DMV never heard the English, so that's an issue there too. But my thing is, there's a problem with the system, the way things are done, but they're just simply blaming the drivers. It's not our fault. We do not choose some of these things. We do not. There's a person that so many people message me, man. So many people I talk to. There's people that, I was struggling a little bit in English, and they gave me the written test in Spanish. Okay, well, isn't that the first line of defense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And another one is they're going big, and I'm bringing all these points up because we have different opinions, but I'm going just on their accusations. Every time Sean Duffy or Christine Nome, they're like, these immigrants, these foreigners don't speak English. I'm like, check, I do speak English. These foreigners we know nothing about, and because they're foreigners, we cannot pull their 10-year driving record. Check. Bro, they got my record since kindergarten. You know, and there's other people. These foreigners, this last one that I heard is like, we started enforcing people to get their real ID because the real ID shows that you have some type of status here in the States. My ID is a real ID, dude. It has a little star, my ID. So all these things is checked. So my frustration is when they come and say, these foreigners are a safety risk and we should get them all out of CDL. We're like, bro, it's like, Why are we being included in that? Again, we're not saying that there's not a problem. There is a problem, but there's a different way to go about. I guess what you're asking was, what's the approach to me? If I gotta take another test, bro, I'll take it. If I
Sure.
gotta, if they were to tell me when they made the rule, if they would have said, hey, we're gonna put a freeze on all your licenses, and you have 30 days to go to the nearest DMV and retake the test in English, I'll gladly do it. Because that's not the issue here. Obviously, it's not the English anymore. They first started with the English, and then they started moving the goalposts. They said, "Oh, it's about now it's about our safety." So, are you saying that I could still work somewhere else? So, are you saying that I'm safe? I'm a danger to the roads, but I could build your house that you live in? I mean, at what point? There's bad
Yeah.
apples everywhere, So my thing is, because I am getting backlash. You can imagine through the DMs that I get. Somebody was like, if you win the lawsuit, if there's another accident by a foreigner, just know that their bloods are in your hands. I was like, come on, bro. Like, accidents happen to everybody. Now, the thing is that the media broadcasts more accidents that have to do with foreigners than American citizens, because the foreigners get some more clicks and they get some more views, because at the end of the day, the news is a business, and they're not. We all know about the fake news, right? It goes both ways. Not only the Democrats and Republican. I'll give you a perfect example. Have you heard about those licenses that they found that says no name given? All right, I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard about that situation, I'm one of the people that are like, "What the hell? Like, no name given? How is that even possible?" Like, right away you think, "Man, there was fraud." Right away you think they probably bought those licenses. But then, as you do more digging, I was on a live with this other guy, and he actually has a license that says no name given, and he explained to me we have a bunch of different cultures, a bunch of different countries. There's some cultures out there that don't have a last name. But because when they come here, they need to have something in their birth certificate that says no name given. No name given, but that guy that they got, he happened to be legal, right? But there's also U.S. citizens that says no name given. It says no name given on their license, on their birth certificate, on their bank accounts, on their mortgage. When they went to the DOT to apply for a DOT number, it says no name given. But they don't say that part of the story. They just say, we found this illegal alien with this license that says no name given. People like you, people like me, we're like, because we don't know that culture, right? We're like, what? How is that possible? Because it's something that's not normal for us. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. We just don't know about it, But again, there's a lot of things that they're saying they bought licenses. Who knows? But the thing is, if people are buying licenses, then why? There's other people involved. There's somebody in the DMV. Investigate those people. Don't just count us all in the group and just take all our licenses. That is why I'm fighting with Is there things that need to be changed? Yes. Is there something that needs to change? Yes. But this is not the way to go about. Don't just come and just take our licenses. And that's what, I could be doing this all day. And one thing that I want to say to everybody that's watching, if I do this every 2 years and get my fingerprints taken and go to interviews and find an application, if there was one way where I could do it one time and become a resident, you guys think I wouldn't have done it? Common sense, but just some people are very they just talk, and it is what it is. Even me, after doing this, there's gonna be somebody that says just become a citizen. So I've learned not to bother me no more. But every time that I hear it, it's just like, come on, this is.
Well, let's segue into that for a second, because I got that question a lot myself on the video I posted. So my understanding is it's nearly impossible to become a citizen if you don't have like a green card status. And a lot of people are saying it's nearly impossible to get a green card. There's these unobtainable, ridiculous eligibility requirements. So it's kind of like a system that sets you up for failure to begin with. So what is your experience with that, just out of curiosity? With
So like, using your example, you mentioned in your video that your dad was from Germany, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of stuff that some countries qualify that others don't. Plain and simple. Mexicans, we don't qualify for asylum because we're like, I don't know the reasons, but there's another one that it's called a lottery. That there's a lottery for green cards. In Mexico, we don't qualify for that either. In my instance, me personally, I've spoken to lawyers, and I say, hey, what's the pathway? What do I gotta do, dude? I'm making this money. I got my business. I have my house. Common sense. If I could lose all that, I could. If there's a danger of me losing that, why wouldn't I become a citizen, right? The lawyers say, this is facts. The only possibility I had, there's 3 options that I had, right, when I was little. marry a U.S. citizen. My wife and I, we've been together since high school. She was 15, I was 16 when we met. At that age, when you're dating somebody, do you ask them if they got papers, or how does that work?
Sure,
That's not
sure.
even that's not even in your mind, you know. It didn't even hit me until I was like a teen, trying to get my license. And I'm like, man, like, damn, I'm not a citizen. The other one is you could go through a work sponsor where that job pretty much has to first they have to prove. There's a process. I don't have the details on the process, but they have to prove that they can't hire the people with that skills here in the States before they can actually consider you. There's a process that you have to interview so many people and say, hey, he didn't meet our expectations. Let's get this guy. Obviously, I'm self-employed. That's out of the picture. And then the last one, which is for me, is when my daughter turns 21, which is 3 years and a half from now. I will pretty much, and not even a citizen, I will apply to become a resident. And then after 5 years of being a resident, then you apply to become a citizen, and you take this naturalization test. It's a test of it's 90, I think it's 90, it used to be 100 questions. I think they increased it. 100 questions, and out of the 100 questions, they actually maybe 20, or depending on how it is. And then you become a citizen. So even with my daughter turning 21, I still got to wait another 5 years. You know,
Okay.
if my
Yeah, yeah.
so your sibling, another one is your sibling my brother could have petitioned me, but it takes 25 years. It's just the system isn't made for us to just say, hey, we're gonna go and apply. Just think about it. Right now, all of the DACA people, we pay every 2 years. I think the last thing I heard, last time I paid like $600. That's if I did it myself. I didn't pay a lawyer. $600. There's an estimated of 500,000 DACA holders in the U.S. Every 2 years. If you do the math, bro, that's a lot of money that they're getting. You know.
So, one thing I did want to bring up, and you probably know more about the EAD rule that DOT put out than I do, but so essentially right now the way it sits, there is no exemption for people like you. So I was a little unclear, but so basically this is a halt, not a full stop permanently, as they go through an audit
No,
different states, or is it a full?
no, it's we've gotten a lot of DACA members and a lot of TPS members have gotten letters saying that they have 60 days to go to the DMV and downgrade their CDL. So it's done. It's a
So they're
done
just
deal.
asking you guys to straight up down. Is
So,
this the state of Utah asking you that, or is
like
this?
me personally in Utah, they gave me a notice for 30 days. California, a bunch of people just got their notification. You can actually, I'll send you the picture of it, or you could see my
Sure.
videos. California people just got a bunch of letters or emails saying that they have 60 days to go and turn it in. A lot of people are already losing their jobs. A lot of people that pretty much can't renew, and it is what it is. So there's no halt. That's it. So Utah, okay, there was a hold on Utah until they passed the audit. They passed the audit, and now their website is reopened to take limited license IDs.
And you're still in it.
But
Still in it.
it says only people that are within this category. Now let's get to that category, okay?
Sure.
This is where I feel that the FMCSA is contradicting themselves. They're saying that the issue is because of the English, and the issue is because we don't know nothing about these people and we have no record of them. The visas that they are allowing, and just to be clear, I am no way bashing those people. You know, they're immigrants like us. I don't want to sound like, hey, you're attacking your own people. No, it's just the contradiction. The issue is English and the safety. The people that they are allowing to, they're agricultural. They live in Mexico or wherever state, and they come solely for the harvest or whatever farming needs, and they leave at a period of times and they go back. Those people do not speak English. So then how is it really about the English? You know, and then that's what I'm getting at. The lawsuit isn't about opinions. We're just attacking their accusations. Everything that they're saying, we got. Everything that they're saying, these people don't speak English, we speak English. These people we don't know where they're from. Dude, they have our fingerprints every 2 years. These people are a safety concern. Bro, immigrants, we're out here walking in eggshells, and like I said in the video, the difference between a U.S. citizen driver and me is that I know that if I do something bad, like really bad, dude, I either I get deported, and even if I don't get deported, if I do something bad and I get some type of misdemeanor or some type of felony, maybe that day I won't get deported. But next time, 2 years from now, when I got to renew again and I do my fingerprint, that record's going to come out. And then they're either going to deny my DACA renewal or pretty much give me an order for removal. So what does that tell you? Me as a person, I feel, and no attacking the citizen, but I'm trying to prove my point. I think that I'm more safer than you are because I have bigger consequences.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm, you know.
So this is really the focus is, I guess, to kind of clarify this seemingly blurred line, right? Right now, we have a group of immigrant drivers who are obviously unsafe, involved in corruption and scamming, and they don't know English. But then there's also the other facet, which is like people like you, right?
Yes.
Who know English. You're following the rules, squeaky clean record, successful business owner. I mean, like I said, you basically are an American citizen minus what the piece of paper says.
Correct.
So this is really for you, just to make sure I'm understanding, to kind of clarify that seemingly blurred line where you guys, the good guys, are getting jumbled in with the bad guys, and they're categorizing you all into one group. So it's not we agree then, I guess, that there is obviously a lot of fraud, corruption going on with the bad immigrants that are over here. And I know that sounds bad to say it that way. There's really not a good way to say that, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you would be cool with just basically the outcome of this maybe being a system where we start attacking this from the very beginning, like you said, with when these guys are going to CDL school, can't speak English, and they're somehow getting a CDL, something like that, for an example.
So me, and this is like I started, I am in no way against the safety part. I am in no way saying that there's not an issue. Even me, dude, if I'm, damn, like there's people that just can't understand English, and I'm like, how are they even checking at the receivers? How do they even? It's a question that even I have. To answer your question, if they were to give me, dude, I've been proving myself my whole life. I've been proving myself to this country to show you guys that I'm trying to be part of the country, that I'm trying to be a neighbor. I'm not the enemy. If they gave me a test right now, dude, and tell me, hey, George, even if they tell me, hey, go reapply, go redo your test, I would do it, man. Because I have nothing to hide. I know the rules. I could read this language. But let's agree that the system, the way they did it, is just, the issue isn't the safety part. It's just the way that they just categorize all of us and just wiped everybody out. If I were to show you the messages that I get from people, dude, there's sometimes I get emotional, man. I get emotional because they're like, hey, man, like I just bought my house, I just bought my trucks, dude, and they don't, like, they gave me 60 days to get my license out. Some people got fired already. Some people, and they're doing things right. Give us all a chance to prove that we're not a safety concern. Give us all a chance to prove that they have our record, dude. They have our driving record. They have everything that they need. Give us the chance to just simply say, hey, you know what, this guy, he qualifies. He shouldn't be included. Now, whether there have to be changes, and I keep going in a circle, but I think that there's a way to doing things. I understand the initiative and I understand the reason behind it. I don't agree with the way they're going about it. Don't include us all in that bunch. It's just for an example, like just an example. And I know some people might, this example that I'm gonna give, some people don't like me using it, but most of the, because you're saying that a lot of big accidents have been happening, but non-domiciled, right? That it's in danger. Most of the school activities have been happening by white citizens, right? Is it fair for me to say that all white citizens are school? It's not, right? Is it fair for everybody to get their weapons taken away? That's what people are fighting for, right? No, it's our Second Amendment, and we have the right to keep our our things, and we shouldn't all be included. That's the same thing we're looking at. Okay, these guys happen to be non-domicile. There's a bunch of different non-domiciles, and why are we being punished for them?
Yeah, I guess what I would say is, yeah, I've heard that analogy before. A lot of people comment that on my videos. Obviously, I think the reason in what you're talking about, it's a huge issue in America, and it is being obviously committed at the hands of Americans. What I would say is, I think in the trucking industry, and I could be totally wrong. I don't know that there's a way to quantify this information, but and some of this could definitely be the media being selective with what they push out. I'm with you. I don't really believe in the fake news media, as the Orange Messiah calls them, but.
Orange Messiah.
Yeah, it's people worship this guy. I'm not a huge fan myself, but I feel like there is, from what I see personally, there is something has to be done at some point, right? And I don't want people like you to be affected. I was actually shocked when you said that there is not some sort of like filter in place where they could look at somebody like you as they're going through these audits and they can say, hey, this guy's not one of the ones we're talking about. The type of people I'm talking about, and just to clarify terms, like, and I see them all the time on the road, it's like you said, it's people who actually can't articulate while they're checking in or, at a shipper receiver. It's people who they're pulling up to a shipper receiver, they're asking someone to back their truck in for them. They obviously don't know what they're doing. And they're working for companies. A lot of these guys, they're being exploited. I mean, they are. We've got these. We'll call them pimps. Back in these
Trucking pimps.
countries. Yeah, I've got a friend of mine. He's a CDL instructor, and he talks to a lot of these guys. And there's these pimps back home in their countries, and they say, hey, look, we'll send you to America. We'll pay for you to go drive trucks. You get your H-2B visa or whatever it is. And what's happening is they're coming over here. They're driving trucks. They're underqualified at best, and then they are they're having to send the majority of what they get for pay back to the guy who sent them over to begin with. And I think it's really slimy on the U.S. government. It's part of, also, I've talked about this in videos. It's like a lot of these guys, they're not really staying, long term. They're coming over here, I think, and the bad ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And the U.S.
They're
government
bad.
says, hey, as long as you come over here and we can exploit you for your cheap labor while you're here, and then once we're done, we're going to kick you back out. I don't agree with that. But there is an undeniable correlation with, and it's like I said in that video, there's really no easy way to put it. I got a lot of backlash for this, but there's a correlation there between a lot of these guys and cargo theft and double brokering. Not people like you, but the guys who are coming over here who clearly have no idea what they're doing. And you can tell they don't plan to stay here long. You've got all these companies that are registered to abandon apartment complexes, in these staple cities for this stuff, like Chicago and Indiana, or Indianapolis, I'm sorry. And I guess we need to find a way to where we can filter those guys out while
So,
also not attacking people like you who deserve to be here.
so do you feel like, for example, if the inspectors at the scales, if they were to
Hmm.
all just make it a law, it's already a law, but they're
Sure.
not
Yeah.
enforcing their EOPs. I've never
Hmm.
even seen
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
done. If they were to do every report in English test, the EOP, you start filtering people out. And the thing is this, and this is where I'm getting at. A
Hmm.
lot of the people just, a lot of people that are watching this news is they just say truckers, right? These
Yeah. Yeah.
truckers, the trucking industry is going to get better. The rates are going to be better. But this rule is affecting people that are driving their kids to school, and I bet you they don't even know that. And like,
Hmm.
I bet you even yourself, I mean, I don't know your personal situation, right? But the people that I see that are dead on social media, yeah, we got to get these foreigners out, take all their CDLs. Dude, these are the people that are at your house. They're taking your garbage from your house. These are the people that are at your house. They're pretty much driving the mixed concrete trucks, your school bus drivers, there's a lot of people that have nothing to do with the trucking industry. The city bus, if the city is able to employ you, if the city, that means you went through the background check. You did everything right. If you drive for a city and they trust you with many lives on the bus and suddenly now we're a danger to the roads, that's another thing that they're not looking at. They're solely focusing on the trucking industry, but CDL goes a long way. And this is affecting a lot of people that are working in CDL, and then that's the
Yeah.
thing too.
I think a good, federal government's not going to listen to me, but I think a good approach for this perhaps would be, as they're going through and doing these audits, before they send people like you a letter out saying, hey, you've got 60 days, or like your friend you were talking about in California, hey, you've got 60 days.
There's a
I
lot.
feel
I
like it.
think a lot of people got that notice and email that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think it would. To me, I'm surprised they're not doing this. This seems really, really ignorant. But I wish that they would essentially send something out that says, "Hey, come to the DMV,
Yeah,
present your, present your case, and if you've been here for X amount of time, if you can speak English properly, the whole nine yards." I don't know why they would still just say, "No, sorry, you're done. You're out of here."
yeah.
Obviously that's what they're
There's
doing,
people
apparently,
that
from what you're saying. But
there's people that paid thousands of dollars for their trucking school, and they were just all happy to go take their tests, and
mhm.
now they can't do it. And then also, what's the funny part? That we actually have to pay to download our license. We had to pay. We had to
Mhm.
pay and reapply for a regular license, and they're getting all this money. But let's go back to the. There's a safety issue, which is what they're saying, and then we
Mhm.
have money, dude. There's the money thing. I feel like honestly, man, there's bigger stuff going on. That this is just their distraction, and this is just. But there's big money hitters. I feel like people are saying that these rates are going to get better, but I feel like these mega carriers had something to do with this. These mega carriers, dude,
100%. Mhm.
mega carriers, they're lobbying. That study that I put in my video. You know who
Mhm.
paid for that study? JB Hunt. Why is JB
Mhm.
Hunt paying for these studies? Why is JB
Yeah.
Hunt doing all these things? Because they're trying to get all these people out of the trucking industry, and they're trying to go out there and lobby and try to get all these mega contracts. Because are you going to tell me this? Are you going to tell me that you're going to take out a person like me that has 11 years of experience, and you're going to put somebody that just came out of school that did like 2 weeks of training? No matter, I drive from LA to Denver. Those Rocky Mountains, dude, they ain't no joke. You can't just learn something in 2 weeks and just get your truck, a brand new truck, and then hit the mountains, dude. You have to have experience. Are you gonna tell me that there's people out there that are just gonna come into the industry? I don't want to sound like I don't want to sound like I knew everything when I came in, but what I'm getting at is it's not the safety. Let's just be realistic. It's not fully safety. In the
Yeah,
way.
I would push back a little bit on that. I would say that, the guys who are going through these mega carrier training programs and stuff, that's a huge problem, by the way, that I've talked about. You've got guys with like 3 months of experience being recruited by mega carriers to be driver
Yeah,
trainers. What is that?
exactly.
But the other thing is like the bad apples of, and I'm trying to draw this line, so because I don't think you and people like you deserve to be categorized as immigrant drivers or whatever, because you're obviously not the ones we're talking about. So I'll say bad apples. But the bad apples, I mean, there's a lot of these guys that they're clearly they're, I'll just say this: I've never seen an American-based driver get out at a shipper or receiver and ask someone to back their truck in for them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously they make
So
mistakes and stuff,
we
but
agree that there's stuff that needs to be changed. We agree,
100%,
and I think
100%. Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, right? But that's the thing. When they go on the news, right? And me and you, for example, you did that video. That's why we're here. Now speaking to me, would you say you have a different perspective on the situation?
Yeah.
As far as not as far as the safety part, but as far as do you think it's fair that they're including all of us in that pretty much in that bunch?
Yeah, so one thing I'm still pretty grounded in what I said, except for the fact that it appears like it's a lot more challenging, and it shouldn't be, for people like you to become a citizen. I think that's ridiculous. I think people like you, they're saying like, oh, well, you're not a citizen technically, so you're going to lose your livelihood. Okay, well, I'm sure if there was an easy way to do it, you would do it,
Yeah,
right? And a
yeah,
lot of
exactly.
people, I thought, yeah, so it's like that to me seems like a really, really weird and almost deliberately set up for failure type system that they've implicated for people like you. Like, they're going to penalize you for not being a citizen, but they're not going to give you a pathway to become. If there's anybody who should be becoming a citizen, it should be somebody like you, in my opinion, somebody who's been here
Yeah,
for
and we're just
decades.
waiting. We're just
You
waiting,
know,
and that's the thing that there's bigger stuff. And let me tell you what happens with people like me. People like me are only brought up when it comes election time, right? When you have
yeah, yeah.
when you have these people doing campaigns, and because people keep saying, well, blame the Democrats because Trump. So I guess Trump in the first term proposed a pathway to citizenship for us, and the Democrats shut it down, right? But okay, dude, we're here now. He's president now, so what's up? Like, he said actually a year ago, he said, "Yeah, we love the Dreamers. We want to help them. We're still waiting. I'm not here in the sense that I'm demanding anything, but DACA people, we just get filed in the filing cabinet, and we only get taken out every time there's gonna do a campaign. You know why? Because people like, for example, my brothers, my cousins that are citizens. If a candidate for president comes and says, "Hey, during my presidency, we're gonna give all DACA people citizenships," what does that mean? I can't vote, right? But that means that my brother's gonna go vote for him, my uncles, because they want to help me out. But then what happens? They fall into and they go into the office, they put DACA right back in the filing cabinet, and that happens. And I'm not here defending Democrats either, dude. They didn't do. Biden. The only thing
Sure.
Biden did was put the advanced parole back. But Trump, on the first term, he actually canceled DACA, and it wasn't until a judge stopped it. That's the only reason we're still here. But Trump did cancel the new applications, right? So it's like me. This is what Trump happened. Trump proposed it, and then I don't know what he demanded. I think he wanted a budget for the wall. Democrats didn't give it. You know why? Because these politicians, at the end of the day, they have these egos. And like right now, the shutdown, these politicians are living in mansions. And you got everyday people that like me and you that we're just trying to fight. We're just trying to work. We're just trying to provide for our family. I don't care who is president. At the end of the day, I still got my bills to pay. And I said this, I told you this earlier. When Obama was president, I had bills to pay. When Biden was president, I had bills to, right now I got bills to pay. But these politicians right now, they have their egos that, yeah, Democrats we don't want to give in because, yeah, they're going to say we're right. Republicans, it's the same. Right now we're living in a country that's divided. It's all finger pointing. And right now, They just threw us all in the bunch, and we're just trying to survive. We're not out there stealing. We're not out there looting. We're just trying to be working people, providing for our family. And then what they do? Oh, we have a couple of people that messed up, and we're gonna take all their licenses. But I feel like the people don't know that, and that's why I'm out here. That's why I'm out here, because people in the news, they need to report the full story. When they say in the news, they say 200,000 foreigners are being taken off the streets. We are protecting America because of the American citizens. But people in their mind are like, yeah, these 200 foreigners that just came in. No, dude, we've been here forever. And we're in that group. It's 42,000, that chart says 42,000 DACA people, another 40 TPS. And there is some asylum people, but people that just came in the 2-3 years, that's what they have in their mind. Yeah, we got to get them all out. We got to get them all out. Because this is another thing. Watch. Do you know what an I-10 number is?
I'm mildly familiar. I'm
Right,
not
so
enough to
good.
comment
So,
on.
so I'm going a little bit off topic, but I'm just to show you.
Sure.
If the issue is immigration has always been a thing, but it comes down to the money. There's people like me that use the I-10 number. The I-10 number was created for people that don't have a social to file their taxes. The difference between an I-10 number and a social is that people with I-10 don't qualify for benefits, but we still pay the same taxes. So how do you get an I-10 number? You go to the IRS, you give them your name, you give them your address, give them all your information. The government gives you an I-10 number, and then you go for all those years and you apply, you do your taxes. But you don't get child income returns, you don't get a whole bunch of benefits. So does the government know who's here illegally? Yes, because all you gotta do is pull out a record who has an I-10 number, because if you have an I-10 number, it's because you don't have a social, and if you don't have a social, it's because you don't qualify for one. If you don't qualify for one, it's because you don't have no legal status here. They have the information, but what is it? Do a research. Once we finish this podcast, do a research on how much money the government gets off people from I-10. It's billions of dollars. Billions of dollars. So they know this system out here is making us immigrants look like we're taking advantage
Are
of the
the
system.
people on so the people with I-10 numbers is that essentially every immigrant then?
People that don't have a social. I have a social, so I don't have I-10. I used to have an I-10. But yeah, you could say people that are working on the table have an I-10 number, and they're doing their taxes with the government. The government has all the info.
Yeah. So you think that if, for an example, if this rule were to stay in, hypothetically here, obviously, but if this rule were to stay in effect, but maybe there was a system where people like yourself could be screened out, so that way we could kind of clear up that blurred line
If there
between
were,
good and bad.
I'm
That
not
would be
against.
okay with you?
If there were to say, hey, we're gonna revise the rule, and to say, hey, we're not just gonna take everybody's license without just looking at it. If you tell them what are their demands, if they're saying, hey, we're gonna take away your license and you have 30 days to go back to the DMV and retake the test, I would gladly do it. You have
Sure.
to go to the DMV and take it in English, I would gladly do it. But the way it is now, they just pretty much stripped us out of the license, and
Yeah.
that's it. The point of this lawsuit, whether we win or not, and I don't want to sound like I'm giving up. No, I'm still very hopeful because I feel that we have good arguments. Whether we win this lawsuit or not, at least it brings the conversation to the table. Because had this lawsuit not happened, it would have just been done. That's it. People are losing their license. People are losing their jobs. But now a lot of people are hoping on that lawsuit. And at least it brings. If they come back and say, "Hey, we're gonna give you a 30 days to go and take a test again," man, I would gladly take it. Because we have nothing to hide. We have nothing. All our lives we've been trying to do the right thing, and people just don't understand our side. And that's the reason I'm doing this. I'm not here. I'm not hiding from nobody. I'm losing my CDL, and people say, "Go back to where you came from." Okay, dude. Like I can still work. Like it's telling me their true colors here. Like. So is the issue me having a CDL? Is my issue is me being here? Another one is, you see this, dude? I'm not showing off, but this right here, this is my office. The craziest comment that I got was like, "You're stealing that from an American citizen." Nobody gave me this house, bro. I worked for this shit. No, everything I have here, I worked for it. Nobody gave me this. We don't qualify for a SNAP. We don't even get healthcare, and I'm not here complaining for that. I've been good without it. We've been good. But people keep saying America first. I'm not against America, dude. We're not taking from the country. We're adding to the country. We're trying to be your neighbor. But some people are just like this, man. They just like America first. You're not a citizen, and it's that simple. Okay, other than having that paper that says I'm a citizen, what's the difference between you and I? I know your language, I know your culture, I know everything. I celebrate Thanksgiving, dude. Mexico, we don't even celebrate Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
so it's just, that's what it comes down to. I like doing these things like what I'm doing here because I want to spread the word. I want people to know. I stayed away from doing actual media because media, dude, they gave me a 30-minute interview and they cut it like 2 seconds where it says just the bad thing that I said. So I've learned to stay away. You know, people like you, I'm all good, dude. You did your video. You didn't insult me. You said what you said because that's the way you feel, and that's the way you see it. And I feel not only you, a lot of people see it that way. So me is just me coming out here is clarifying our situation and our side of the story.
Let me ask you one thing here, and after this we'll kind of start wrapping up. So, who is the organization again that reached out to you
Public
to?
citizens, that's the ones that they actually did the lawsuit.
Okay, who are they? I'm totally
So
unfamiliar.
so my understanding is that they're just a nonprofit organization that pretty much fight for the public. So they go and they
Okay.
do these cases, and then once they reached to me, they needed backup. So they went and they got other unions. I think there was two unions. There was two unions that joined the lawsuit. There's another guy. Actually, I've never met the guy. His name is Alex. I don't know his situation, but there's this other union that they're school bus drivers. So this is a union that says something about American teachers or something, and people right away they're like, why are these teachers butting in on this trucking? What do they have to do? No, they're talking about the school bus drivers. There's another King County from Washington. They also joined the lawsuit, and then I just actually found out I didn't even know about this. There's this. It's called Democracy Forward, I think it's called. That they joined the lawsuit, but that thing has a list of a bunch of counties, because again, this is not only about the trucking industry. This is about you. I keep going in circles, but I just want people to know that it's not only people that are picking up loads. There's people that are driving to. If you're saying that they're in danger for how many? There's a lady that had 10 years working as a bus driver. How many years did she take your kids to school? And now suddenly, because these people here had a couple of accidents, now suddenly she's a danger. People that drive the city bus, they were taking you to work, and now suddenly they're in danger. People that took the concrete to your house, people that take dump trucks. It's a lot of people. But
Yeah. Well, so I guess where I'm at with everything is I do absolutely, I do agree with you. Like it's really, really weird that there's not a system in place for people like you that's easier, quicker to obtain citizenship. You definitely deserve that. Um, I'm still stuck on what a good solution is, though, so people like you and like the woman you're talking about, bus drivers, et cetera, don't get knocked out of this. But we can also get these guys who are unqualified totally off the road as well.
the solution to me is this: everything they're claiming that we don't have, we have it. Simply don't just tell. I know it's gonna take time, right? I know it's a lot of people, but simple as that. If you pull out somebody's record that has like even the last 5 years, that means we've been here for 5 years. I've been here I've been driving for 11 years. But if they were to find a way to say, hey, we're not just gonna cancel everybody, let's actually look into, okay,
See,
how
that's
much?
what's weird to me. I thought that's what was happening. So that's
No.
that's interesting to find out because I think a lot of this started when we saw the Florida Turnpike crash and everybody, that became like a nationwide news story. And as far as I understand, I don't know the details, but that individual, California had issued the CDL to him outside the scope of FMCSA regulation. There was a lot of other people who allegedly had CDLs like that. So my understanding is this was just basically an audit to start trying to kind of purge those guys out. Um, and I would like to clarify and kind of get your opinion on this. When I was using the term like iron horse in that video, I wasn't necessarily referring to you directly, but just this movement that, to me, what I see when I look at this is, and I don't mean to offend you when I say this, but there is, I think, a concerted effort by corporations and by trucking companies in this country to exploit immigrant labor. There's people who come over here, they work hard, they build businesses, and that's great. But there's also a lot of immigrants that come over here and they're exploited. They're paid way less than they should be getting paid. And companies love that. Corporations love that. They say, oh, well, we don't hire them. Yeah, you do. And the mega carriers in the trucking industry, they say, oh, well, we don't employ them. Yeah, they just create lending funds to lend them money when they come over here and let them drive trucks. And like I said, the guys in the trucking industry, they're being sent over here by people in their home country that say, hey, you're going to work over there, 2 or 3 guys to a truck, and you're going to send most of your money back home. I think that, reeling this back into what I was saying, I think there is, and perhaps I mistook what the movement you guys are a part of, the lawsuit, as a way to just continue allowing, again, not people like yourself, but these cheaper guys who are over here to stay here because
I think we both know what group we're talking about, right?
yeah, yeah.
I'm not, I don't want to sound, I'm fighting for the immigrant community. I don't want to sound like I'm being selective, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But using that example of the Florida guy, right? So more stuff came out to where that guy was pulled over in New Mexico, and they let him go. Okay, had that officer done his job and done the EOP test, isn't that a front line there? He would have never. That you could say that wouldn't have happened. He should have took him out of service for the English. That's the things that I'm saying is like those little things are the ones that are failing. Don't blame people that we're driving. It's like the system. Let's be real, dude. The U-turns are. That sign is in every country. So even an American citizen will do U-turn if they really want to. No matter if you read English or not, that U-turn is pretty much, it's neutral to all the countries. Pretty much what I'm getting at is simple as, it's not as simple, but they're blaming the wrong people. The people aren't doing their jobs. The DMVs, for example, if the DMV is giving licenses longer than the expiration dates, does the petitioner, like people like me that go, do I choose the expiration date? No, it's them giving it. Whether the reason is because they don't want to keep doing it, the process all over. Who knows what the reason is? But what I'm saying is, don't blame the drivers. Don't blame all of us. We know. I hear what you're saying. As far as the whole companies, maybe it's true. I honestly never looked into it because right now what I'm fighting for is for the DACA people, the TPS people, the people that have been here for a long time, people that meet. I'm fighting for the people that meet the criteria. That everything they say we don't have, we do. I'm fighting for the people,
No, for sure.
And if they were to, like, plain and simple, dude. And I said this. I know I've said this many times. If I got a letter saying, "Hey, we're gonna put a freeze on your license until you go to the DMV and take the test again," it's reasonable. I'll do it. I'm not gonna say, "Oh, well, I gotta do it again." I have no problem doing it. But as of now, that is not even. They're not even trying. They're just taking us all out. And I feel that is more. It has to do more with. Other than safety, yes, safety is the main thing they're saying, but it has to be more than that because obviously we're not a threat. We don't meet that criteria, plain and simple. If the safety is the issue, we don't meet that criteria that they're saying in the media, that they're saying on the road. Everything they're demanding, we have.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I still kind of get stuck on, and again, I agree with you, by the way. I get stuck on the fact of, like, I do think something needs to change with the current setup based off of people like you so that you all are not affected by it. You don't deserve to be affected by that. But I do think also if we leave it up to the states, I think that was really what this was mainly in part a response to, because states, there's certain habitual offenders, California, New York, Illinois, where they just blatantly don't care. They were just slinging, CDLs out to anybody. So as a response to them refusing to comply, I kind of think that's where this came from. So they probably took a more radical approach, but I don't agree with that. And I'll openly concede that. I think there should be a pathway for people like you.
So
to hold a CDL, to retain your CDL. I still, like I said, I do think though that we need to get the majority of these guys who are over here operating for these,
there should
companies.
be a vetting process, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, for sure. So we probably agree pretty much on everything. Then there should be a vetting process, and people like you yourself. And by the way, that's why I've been trying to be very clear in what I say. I don't want to just say the immigrant crowd, which is, and to be fair, that's the language I use. I say non-domicile in a lot of my videos, but there is definitely a distinct line between people like you and the bad apples that we're talking about. So I just want to make sure people understand that when I say immigrants, I'm not referring to you and people like you. I'm referring to the guys who are over here involved in fraud, corruption, don't know how to speak English, the whole deal. And I do wish that we could start attacking this on a more localized level first, like you said. If you're pulled over for English language proficiency, even when the executive order came out from the Trump admin, there were states that refused to comply with it. New Mexico was one of them. They were not enforcing it, and there's still some states that also aren't enforcing it.
So so there's like since this happened, if I go to the scale and I ask them for an EOP test, they don't even do it because they
Yeah.
hear my English. They don't like why even bother. I guess I don't know if they're trained or I don't know who they do it to. I didn't even know it was a thing until this is coming up. But people keep to say that this has been happening for years. Okay, is it our fault? Is it our fault that they're not doing it? You know, going back to what you're saying, there's a lot of filters that are in place that are not being done. A lot of protocols that are in place that have not been done. But the easiest solution for them is to just blame the driver, and we're just going to take all their licenses. And yes, we do agree. We're you know, and I appreciate you doing this. Now you get the word out there, you know, and we're not your enemy. We're trying to do the right thing. We're just waiting. Whether a lot of people say, well, blame it on your parents for bringing you. It's like me. They're saying right now, go back to my country. My kids are small. If I take my kids, dude, I'm pretty much doing what my parents did to me. Just for example, like this is the way I'm thinking. For example, I live in Utah right now. I was born in Compton. I was born in Mexico, but I was raised in Compton, California. In Compton, California, I went to high school there, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want this life for my kids. So I immigrated, you could say, from Compton to Utah because I wanted my kids to have a better life. Right now, my kids, you know, we live in a red state, dude. My neighbors are great. They're all Mormon, and I'm learning about them. They're learning about me. I would do carne asadas. I take them a plate. It's a community. I did to my kids what my parents did to me. They brought me from Mexico because they wanted something better for me, whether it was right or wrong. I'm not here blaming my parents or they. You know, I love them, dude. They did what they did, what felt was best for the family, and I did what I thought was best by moving from California to Utah. You know, so at the end of the day, dude, you know, I think we're going in circles now because I think we agreed. We agreed, and we agree that there is something that needs to be done, but there needs to be a vetting process. Don't just include us on the bunch. Don't just simply say, hey, you guys. And the biggest thing is, don't just end the conversation. Like me and you were actually having a discussion. You have legit questions that you just don't know, and I'm giving you the answers. But there's people that are just so ignorant. Well, just go back to your country. Well, America first. Well, you're not a citizen. Come on, bro. That's not real. You're just. Some people out there are just closed-minded, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is that some people like me. The reason I have what I have is because I grew up seeing my parents struggle, and I grew up seeing my parents hustle, and they wanted me to get something better for me. You know, my kids do have their own rooms. I didn't even have my own room, and the whole time I was living with my family. I'm not complaining about that lifestyle. What I'm saying is I'm out here trying to provide and be a better person and give my kids what I didn't have. And immigrants, dude, all immigrants, we're good, man, because we come from humble, you know, a humble life, and we want to do better. We want to do better. We don't come here to attack nobody. But then again, there's bad apples everywhere, right? There's bad people. The same way as, this is what I like to say. The way I think is, just because you voted for Trump doesn't make you racist. The same way as just because I'm an immigrant, I'm not a criminal. There are people that are racist. There are immigrants that are just fucking up. But we're all not like that. And that is my message to the people, to all the people that are watching this, whether you're against or in favor, dude, we're just trying to provide for our family. The difference between you and I is that we don't have a paper that says that I'm a citizen. But other than that, I think I could challenge people to a spelling bee, dude. I'm smart, dude. I know my shit out here. You know, I graduated. I didn't go to college because my girlfriend at the time got pregnant. We are where we are. It is what it is. I have my business, dude. It's not just a job. Look, you see this, dude? I got this tattoo. Look, this tattoo is the rose of the country that doesn't want me, dude. I got the 15 and the 70. I got Utah, California. This is my company. My company's right there. My company's right here. It's not just trucking, dude. This is a lifestyle. This is a livelihood. And I'm not here playing games, dude. I'm just trying to be part of the society and contribute and continue to do it.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you being willing to sit down and have this conversation. I think it'll be very educational for a lot of people, and we achieved what I wanted to do. I wanted to get somebody from your position to share your story, kind of explain your perspective on this. That's why I wanted to just kind of let you take the reins here and just kind of fill everybody in on your perspective, like I said, and I think that is hugely beneficial to supporting your cause, and it also supports what we're talking about as well from my end, which is the bad apples, and so I really hope that there is a middle ground that we can find moving forward where people like you. I hope that there's a pathway opened up where people like you can become a citizen easily,
Yeah, no, I
quickly,
appreciate it. And
smoothly.
then, before I forget, this is one example, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Because you know how people keep saying just become a citizen, and the English part. If there was somebody that came from Mexico last year, right? I'm not attacking the people. I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah. Yeah.
If somebody, let's say I would have came from Mexico last year, and then I find a American citizen, and I marry that citizen, and then now I become a citizen, and I don't know English, but I'm a citizen. Are you saying that I'm safer just because I'm a citizen than the people that speak English? I'm gonna be a citizen, but I'm not gonna have English. I'm not gonna know the rules. You don't even have my history. I just literally came last year. Are you saying that that's the people you want? Is that not saying you? You know what I'm saying? The
Sure.
argument.
Sure.
If the argument is just become a citizen, it doesn't make sense because anybody could come last year and marry a citizen, become a citizen, and are you saying that person is more safe than me that has been driving for 11 years? Does the logic doesn't make sense. That's why to me it's not as simple as saying just be a citizen, be a resident. No, we have the experience, we have the background, we have the tests, we have the language, we have everything that any other person's
Yeah.
other than the paperwork. So the whole become a citizen this doesn't really apply. It's not that simple, you know. I could
You know, I
marry it,
think,
right?
and by the way, I think that obviously, I don't know why we won't do this as a country. I definitely don't think this current disaster of an administration will do it, but I do hope moving forward in the future, there's a way where, without even having to become a citizen, whether it's this lawsuit being successful or them adjusting it and changing it, however it works out, where you are not going. I don't want to see people like you affected by this. I personally, I was thinking last night as I was driving down the road, I was on my way home, and I was trying to put myself in the shoes of people like you, because again, when I started hearing your side of the story and thinking of things, I was like, well, I can't imagine someone coming to me and I got 4 kids at home, I got a wife, I'm the sole provider for the household. I can't imagine somebody coming to me and telling me like, you got 60 days, and I would be like, hey, look, you know what? What are you talking about? I'm a safe driver. I have a clean record, no criminal history, and you're gonna take this away from me for what? So
Exactly.
I absolutely, you and I are on the same page with that
Yeah, and that's
100%.
pretty
And
much what's happening. Like me, luckily, I'm a owner operator, so I mean, worst case scenario, I could get a driver. I mean, we lived through hurdles our whole life, and eventually we will make it. But there's people out there that are living they're working for a company, and I'm not bashing them at all. They're working for a company, and now they're laid off. Now they just lost their jobs, and now there's gonna be, and to the people who are saying that, oh, I gotta do this thing right here real quick. Hold on, this freaking TikTok wants me to to prove that I'm still here. So the people that think that rates are gonna be better, go after those brokers, dude. Go after the brokers. There maybe the rates will get better while the market adjusts, but it's not about the rates. They're not gonna get better. Maybe they'll get better a little bit, but you guys got to keep looking at the mega carriers. There's somebody that's pushing this. There's a lot of people lobbying about this. There's bigger strings out there. At the end of the day, dude, people like you, people like me, we're just out here trying to survive and pay for our bills. And yeah, I think we covered what I said. Anything else
yeah,
that I say now will pretty much we've already been talked to.
yeah, for sure.
And just to be clear, people say I shouldn't have done this, but I feel like this is what needs to be done. We live in a divided country. You have your stance, I have my stance, and now you had your at the beginning of this interview, you had your questions, I had my questions, and we kind of came to an agreement, you could say, and that's what I think needs to happen. Like people need to know our side of the story and not just say, yeah, get them all out, get them all out. That's a lot of racism out there, dude. There's a lot of people. Yeah,
Yeah.
go back to your country. I'm just losing my CDL, man. I'm not.
Well, it's like you said, it's this like closed-minded. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? And these are people who are, they don't even objectively have a belief of their own. They're following what the media headlines tell them to believe. These are like NPCs basically. But no, man. Like I said, I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. I wanted to give you the reins and let you kind of explain your side, and I think this will be very eye-opening. For a lot of people, myself included, from your
I appreciate
position.
it. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's why when when it's so funny because I didn't even see that video until somebody sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, you seen this guy then that's when let me do a reply.
Yeah, yeah.
And I even said it on the video, like, hey, I'm not bashing this guy. This is how he feels, but I gotta get this. And that's
Respect,
when
yeah.
you comment, and here we are. And the
Yeah.
same way goes to everybody. A lot of people out there reached out to me, and I've done many. I did that mother trucker guy. I went on there too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's just, we're just out here, man, just spreading the word for the people. And
Sure.
I'm not. And the thing is, if you go to my TikToks, dude, I've always been more of a comedy guy, family guy. This is the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
time I'm actually done political, because it's just messed up, dude. It's just messed up. I'm not here. I'm not a activist. I'm not a guy that goes on strikes and marches. No, I've never been like that. Right now is because I initiated this lawsuit because there's a lot of people out there that are going through what I'm going through, and I feel like people don't know, and people feel like they can't speak out because I speak out because I have no record. That they know where I'm at. I'm not hiding from immigration. They know I'm here, so I don't know. I have nothing to lose by doing this, so that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. We've been at it for about an hour now.
Yeah.
So, man, but like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on and being willing to share your side of things. And I really hope that moving forward, there can be some sort of resolution found where people like you are not going to get just absolutely screwed out of, earning a living. We'll keep in contact though, for sure, man.
Yeah.
And,
I got your number.
yeah.
I'm making a lot of friends. Through all this, I'm making a lot of new friends.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, I'll go ahead and we'll sign off. But like I said, man, thank you for doing this. I've really enjoyed having this conversation, and we will catch you later.
All right, man.
See you.